Welcome back to the Football Betting Tips and Strategies series. In this episode, we'll be looking at in-play betting versus pre-match betting, specifically the advantage of in-play betting and why it should be your preferred method. How many times have we placed a pre-match bet, certain that it was going to come in, only to be let down by a flaccid display from the team you backed, an unexpected fight from the team you backed against, or even a dreaded red card? All of which are likely to throw off all your planning and research out of the window and likely result in a lost bet. And we don't like losing on this channel. So, to jump straight into the advantages of in-play betting. The main one is that you get to see how a game plays out. You may back a certain team going into a game, but for whatever reason they don't show up. Either the players aren't motivated, the opposition tactics are working in suppressing their threats, or it may just be a case of general unluckiness. And this happens a lot more often than you would think. The result being that the bet you would have placed pre-game doesn't look quite as good once in the actual game. And given the choice, if you could withdraw the full amount of your stake, you probably would. But the bookies are smarter than that. When you place a bet, immediately you're only limited to 90% of your original stake if you wanted to cash out. And this only gets worse as the game goes on. So, apart from just generally protecting yourself against, unexpected performances, the key advantage of waiting for in-play is that you can actually see which team is posing the bigger threat in front of goal. And the way I generally measure this is shots, and particularly shots on target. If you do have access to data which shows where the shots are coming from, that is particularly helpful as you're looking to get an idea of expected goals. That being, shots from a distance are much less likely to go in when compared to shots inside the box. So by waiting in play, you can get an idea of which team is more likely to score given by the number of shots they've recorded. It's an important reflection of how the two sides are matching up tactically and the success of a team in creating shooting opportunities. It's also important not just to consider this in absolute, but relative to possession percentage. If both teams have had 3 shots on target in the game, but one team has 70% possession and the other 30%, then it shows that the team with 30% is being more clinical with the possession that they have. The second way of looking at it, which also supports the theory of backing the team with less possession, is that they are managing to counter-attack effectively to record shots on target, which leads to a higher likelihood of them scoring. The way in which this is explained is that the dominant team in possession often sets up to win the ball back within the opposition half, preventing the other team from even reaching their goal and troubling their keeper. When, however, a counter-attacking team does break the dominant team's press and are able to reach the opposition goal, they often find themselves with lots of space to exploit, given that most of the dominant team's players are caught further up the pitch in transition. As a result, this can create more dangerous shooting chances for the counter-attacking team and therefore expected goals. For example, imagine the last defender of the dominant team being caught in possession and losing the ball in the middle of the pitch, and the opposition attacker running on goal for a 1v1 versus the keeper. That would be a high expected goal scenario. So again, if the counter-attacking team is reaching the goal and recording shots on target similar to, if not higher than the dominant possession team, you may want to consider backing the counter-attacking team. Of course, you'd be taking into account a range of other factors which we've covered in past videos and will continue to cover in the future. A quick disclaimer, and one probably to cover in more detail in a future video, is that if you're backing a high odds counter-attacking team, the difference in possession has to be significant for all of this to apply. If it's only a small difference, the counter-attacking scenarios don't present themselves as easily to the weaker possession team, and therefore in this case, where shots on target are similar, there is no conclusive evidence to suggest which team to back, at least from this part of the analysis. An extension of the point of seeing how the game plays out is that you get to mitigate the risks of red cards ruining your bets. Red cards can swing games massively, and especially the odds. Now, it's true that red cards can happen at any point in the game, But if the team you've backed pre-game loses a player early, the opposition advantage only grows as the game goes on, as the now 10 men have to do the work of 11 for a longer period. Now, red cards in the first half are not likely, but certainly possible, so it's an unnecessary risk to expose yourself to. So, apart from the theory of waiting to see how a game plays out so you can collect information to place a more informed bet, the other key reason why you should be waiting in play to place your bets is that you get better odds. Even if you were to wait 5 or 10 minutes into a game, the odds for each team winning the game will increase slightly. So even if you did want to back early, it's worth waiting for that 5 or 10 minutes. It gives you a chance to avoid any unexpected early goals and still pick up some information about how the game is going, even if it is 5 or 10 minutes. My favorite time to place a bet, which I will have to cover in more detail again in a future video because it deserves its own video, is around the 60-minute mark. After studying in-play football markets for a number of years, there is a sizable increase in the odds for either team to win when the teams are drawing, and this is applicable across almost any league market. It just happens as it gets to that point in the game, the odds for either team winning increases. The sizable increase in odds is not reflective of the fact that a significant number of goals are scored in the last 30 minutes of games, in particular the last 15 minutes. So that's something we're using to our advantage with the bookies. Of course they're aware of this, but they see that as 30 minutes, time is running out in the game. But the way we should be looking at it is last 30 minutes of the game, players are getting tired, more mistakes are going to be made, and there are going to be greater opportunities for goals. So that's why I like to bet 60 minutes, at least the surface of it. And I'd like to cover the dynamics and how to enter into the bet, and more importantly, how to get yourself out of the bet if it's going your way or not going your way in another video. And of course, there are going to be several occasions when the team you've researched and prepared for secure the game comfortably in the first half, and you'll feel like you missed out because you didn't place the bet pre-game. But there are hundreds of games on every weekend, so even if you do miss a few winners, you still haven't lost your money, which will happen in the long run if you continue to back teams pre-game and expose yourself to the variations in the game over 90 minutes and not take advantage of the much better odds which present themselves as the game passes. So, getting a chance to see how the game develops and being able to take advantage of better odds is why I think you should wait to place your bets in play. But let me know your thoughts, and I wanted to say a quick thank you to all my subscribers. We've recently passed the 100 mark, so that does mean so much to me, and I would just like to ask you to continue to like and subscribe and support the channel, and I'll keep doing my best to keep bringing you this content and bring you the picks as well. So good luck and speak soon.